Alrighty, here we go. This week we're covering computer parts, new, used, or refurbed. Good, bad, ugly, benefits, drawbacks, all of it. So, this week we've got our usual crew minus our producer because somehow he's not available. He's out and about doing real life stuff, having to show his face in public. How dare he?
Ew, imagine going outside.
Right?
Gross.
Ugh. Especially like it's now summer, so it's hot. So
Yeah,
ew.
it's way too hot over here right now. Probably not even as hot as like your winters get, but still it's too hot for us.
Yeah, we were discussing that the other day. It's like, yeah, we're like, yeah, it tops out at like, what's the hottest it gets for y'all? 24
Like
C?
no, that's like the average. The hottest it can get, like I can remember off the top of my head getting is probably like 32, 34 C.
Yeah, that's nice weather for us.
Yeah,
This
that's
past
us
week it was
dying.
topping at like 41, 42.
It
No
tops
thanks.
out for you. Let me tell you what it tops out for us.
105 I think is 42.
49 Celsius.
Yeah.
I would die.
It's funny because I've
I'm
seen
not even
pictures out there of
joking.
like trash cans sitting on the curb and they're just melting.
Yeah. I've seen like it can get hot over there. Like even I think I saw one time. I think it was like in Australia that it was got so hot that even the roads themselves were melting.
I've actually had that here at my old
Damn.
house. There was a section of road that just melted and slid downhill. It was like,
That's how you know
well,
it's too hot.
that's a problem.
A little bit, yeah.
Speaking of high temperatures and melting, I wouldn't recommend anybody buy a secondhand video card.
An actual used one? Yeah, we're gonna cover that.
Un-
Anyways,
Unless
Use the
it's from
I am
unless it's
Redneck
from a
Alcatraz. We
reliable
forgot our
place.
damn intros.
We went straight onto heat.
Yep.
Hello,
Overheat is bad.
hello. I'm apocalyptic.
I'm Baldy Locks.
Our shaved wolf.
On naked wolf. He has no fur right now.
Yep. Yep. All the fur's gone.
I have mixed feelings about that statement, but sure.
Well, that's why you got the shirt on so you don't get cold, right?
Yeah.
I'm not getting cold.
Well, we stick you in the freezer,
By what we
maybe.
just said.
But that's what air conditioning for, which is something apparently you British people lack.
No, we don't have air conditioning because it's not doesn't it, we don't we, it doesn't normally get hot here. Our houses are built to keep the heat in because we're supposed to be a cold country. So when it does get hot, our houses literally turn into ovens because like I said, we've got insulation in the roof, like or we often have insulations in the walls because yeah, it's supposed to keep the heat in. So when it does get hot, there's no way to get it out except for open a window, turn a fan on, and hope you don't die.
Yeah, just fold yourself into the freezer. It's fine.
That's been tempting. That would literally be that's literally what I would do when I get to like my old job now. I don't know if you guys have heard the news that I don't no longer work at my retail job, but yeah. When I did
You
get there and it was
escaped
on a
from
hot day,
retail?
I did escape from retail. My last day was Thursday.
Are you
The
still
literally
in?
the first
Are you moving into a new retail?
yeah, I'll be working in phone service instead,
Oh, that's not
I
trading up.
work in yeah. I mean, it is
That's
nicer because
not
like I don't have
trading
to
up.
I don't have to leave my house and I get paid more, so for me it's a bit of a trade up.
I mean, yeah, but
I'll be doing it from home.
you'll find out
And
you
I don't
still have to deal with some of the same dumb bullshit.
Oh, I know it
Now
can
you
be
have to
worse.
deal with more dumb bullshit because all of your customer interactions are condensed to back to back.
Yeah,
True.
and also I'll get people that think their balls are bigger than they are because the conversation will be through a phone, but that's fine with me.
I'm already doing that. I can tell you.
I
Sometimes
don't
it's damned entertaining.
exactly. I don't care about people about customers getting arsy. I've done it for over 5 years. It was the whole like face to face. It was possible that they could get so angry that they could start getting physical. Where over the phone they can't.
I did have
So
one
I'm
guy
fine.
who
And
thought
they can get
who
arsy at me. I don't care.
I did have one customer who both me and another customer thought he was going to come over the counter after me, and afterwards the guy was like, "I wasn't sure what was about to happen, if I was going to have to peel him off you or we'd have to come get somebody to collect him off the ground."
Yeah, I've had a few altercations with that as well. So that's my main thing is I don't have to deal with that anymore. The worst they can do is swear at me, and I'm like, I'm used to that.
Yeah. Uh, a tip: do not give out your full name to anybody over the phone
Oh, I
if you're
won't. I
doing that.
won't. Hopefully, it will be like a one of the things of my job where I can't, like, because Gab's her job, like, she can give her first name, but she legally cannot. I don't know if it's
Yep.
legal, but again,
It's
the
against
ones
company
that,
regulations to
yeah,
give out your full name.
regulations, yeah, policy of it. That's what I was thinking of. It. So even if it's not, I'll be like, I don't have to give you my full name, so I'm not. You can know my name's
Yeah,
Jordan,
it's so
but
they
that's
can't
all you're
track you
getting.
down and find you and take it out on you personally.
Where
Exactly.
where I work, I don't know if it's legally a legal obligation, but it is necessary to wear a name tag. When they gave me my name tag, it had my first and my last name on it, and I wore it like that for about a month until we had a floater manager come in because our actual manager was on vacation, and a customer came in and got mad at our manager to the point where they were shouting at them, like yelling loud, shouting, "I'm gonna cancel you, bitch," etc. After that happened, I cut my last name off my name tag, and if
Hmm.
anybody ever tells me that I'm going to get fired because of that, then I will quit. I'll let them fire me.
Yeah, it seems to be a thing with
My
my old job
personal
where
safety is not a thing I should be having to put at risk for my job.
exactly. Yeah, it seemed like it was a thing at my old job where only the managers had to have their full name on their name tag because all of us just had our first name, but all the managers always had their first and last.
Well, it's also
So that
cheaper for if you just gotta have regular employees have their first name because then when they leave, they have to turn in their badge and all that. So you can just hand the badge off to somebody else with the same name.
I've
well,
never had to do that.
you
It's
say
just
that.
a name tag.
You say that our work handbook said that when I finish work, I have to give them everything back. You know, my uniform, my name tag. Didn't ask for it when I left. I still have them all. I could walk into any store that my company owns and just pretend I work there.
I gave all my
I
stuff back
wouldn't
from
put
my
that
last
on
couple
camera,
jobs.
but
I didn't want to keep it.
I'm like, it is always like a thing back in my mind. It's like, oh, I could do that. I could just walk in and just walk into the back and just pick some up. They'll never know. I'm wearing the uniform. I'm like, no, I
I
wouldn't do
actually
that.
have been in the back after I left 2 jobs ago. I actually did end up back in the staff spaces, and they all knew me. They're like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?"
Yeah, I knew I could do that if I went to my actual work. Like old colleagues that we've had that have left, they've wanted to go into the back, like because like one of our colleagues is on break and they want to talk to him. Like, yeah, go ahead. We know you. We trust you. Go ahead, say hi to them or whatever. We don't care. So I could.
I I think at this point we might have to restart the.
I don't care. We'll just continue. If our producer
We're
don't
gonna
like it, too
derail.
bad. He wasn't here, and he can do some fancy schmancy editing if he wants. Oh
Yeah,
well.
he can edit all this out if he wants to.
Yeah, but
It's his fault
yeah,
for not being here.
I'm Redneck Alcatraz, Mister.
Apocalyptic,
I did not trade up in jobs. Is apocalyptic, and then we've got the shaved wolf.
shaved wolf. There we go. We'll go with shaved wolf instead of naked wolf.
He's wearing
Thank
a
you.
shirt. He's not naked.
He's not wearing fur though. In a wolf term, that is naked.
That's why I said shaved.
Here's the thing, though. All right, people ask me this. I'm not a furry.
No, never said you were.
uh, I
But
still
your
remember that
People ask me
your
conversation.
name
this
is
because
Wolf, and you have shaved your head. Therefore, you are a shaved wolf.
acceptable.
That's why I
He's a
said it's a
shaved.
shaved wolf.
He's a shaved, not furry.
Yes,
Also acceptable. Also very specific. Good.
Yes,
a shaved, not furry wolf,
yes.
or a shaved wolf who's not a furry. There we go.
He's not. He likes wolves not because he's a furry. He just likes wolves.
I told somebody one time I liked wolves, and I've been showered with gifts and knickknacks and all that since. So
That's what
Hey,
happens when
it
you get
makes it easier
those
if
sort of friends.
we gotta get a gift for this guy. What are we gonna get? Find something wolfy.
Anything that's got a
pretty
wolf
much,
on it
yeah.
or is a wolf, he'll like it.
Oh, if they really know you, they might get you something gaming related.
Yeah.
If they really know me, they wouldn't because I would want to do my own research and buy, the perfect thing for me.
Well, no, I meant like maybe not necessarily a full size poster of Raynar back there, but
I technically kind of stole that.
yeah, you did. Uh, but like maybe a Raynar action figure or something suitably StarCrafty.
I'll tell you what. You know those perler beads?
Perler beads?
Those little circle beads that you heat press together to turn them into.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
They're big in anime conventions.
I
I
guess.
opened a gift a few years ago and I saw that it was perler beads and I thought, oh no, there's no way I'll enjoy this. But dude,
Oh, them. I was like, I still don't know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. Okay, that. Okay.
I set these up on top of my surround sound speakers and I never thought I would enjoy a perler bead gift, but this one was on the mark. I even got some eggs.
Yep. No, I messed with those as a kid as well. Yep. I think they had a different name back then, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing we call them something different over here, but I don't remember what
I
they're
think
called.
they're perler beads. Perler.
Well, we all have computers.
We do.
Perler. Perler beads.
Oh, over here, I think over here is that Amazon. Yeah,
Images.
they're called fuse beads over here, by the looks of it.
Perler, I
It's
think it's the brand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
So I'm
remember
get
messing with these like almost 20 years ago. And yeah, I did stuff with
yeah,
them as well.
they're pretty big in the anime conventions and stuff. You can knick-knack whatever you like. Back in '04, I think, was when they were
Yep.
big, when I remember.
I think, yeah, I think that's. Shit, that was almost 20 years ago.
Okay, apparently there's different types: perler beads, hammer beads, fuse beads, melty beads, nabby beads, and pile passla beads. Pyssla.
Are there any anal beads?
Not on this list.
ANAL?
ANAL beads. Okay, I got it when you spelt it out.
Oh, yeah, looks like there are.
Yeah, there will be.
You can probably make
Look,
some with those
look
perler
forward,
beads.
look forward to that in your Amazon recommendations
I'd rather not. I don't want that.
because
Come
you
up
searched.
on, hey, buy this. But I don't really see the difference. But hey, apparently this picture it tells us the difference between the different beats that I just said. I don't really see a difference
The
except the
base
colors.
design for them, I think, is all the same. They're just
Yeah, that's what
marketed differently.
You have to buy a different heat press for each one, probably. So
Probably. The thermal
maybe.
temperatures are probably different. I just bought the cheap shit when I was a kid.
I've never dabbled in them, so
some of the beads are like 2.5 millimeters. The other ones are 2.7 millimeters, so they don't fit.
Yeah. That's probably because, like I said, they're all different brands.
yeah. Some you need lube for, some you don't.
Almost none of them are actually glue. They're all heat. You get them heated up to a point, they just kind of melt together, and then they're done.
Yeah, these things have fallen before
They
because they're
hold
not
together pretty
secured.
damn well.
They, I would have expected them to have shattered by now with one of those drops that they've been subject to, but they hold strong.
Yeah, they last better than a lot of used computer parts,
Hey, nice segue back on topic.
right? Well, as
I
you
don't know
mentioned
about back on
earlier,
topic.
uh, used graphics cards. Now, I will
Yeah,
say
that's in.
this,
I'd say if you know the person you're buying it from, you can trust them. Then yeah, sure, you could get a secondhand GPU, but I wouldn't say buy it online from someone you've never met.
especially not off like eBay.
Oh yeah, definitely not. No, I'd never. I don't use eBay
Yeah, there
for
was once
anything.
there was once a day in an age where it would be fine, perfectly fine.
Yeah,
But then something called data mining came out, and ever since then, it is nigh impossible to trust the structural integrity of your used video card.
Oh yeah, definitely since data mining started to be a thing. Because I read something the other day saying that like what was it like the memory like data mining like fries the memory chip in a GPU or something. So if you buy one of those secondhand, you're gonna get like a basically a dead GPU.
yeah, because it just
Or one with a
burns it
very
out.
limited lifeline.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or almost dead.
It'll work until a few
it
months
doesn't.
later of actual like because when you're data mining, it stays hot, which isn't great for the chip. but when you're actually using it, like gaming, it gets hot, it gets cold, it gets hot, it thermal cycles.
Yeah, it's supposed to
It what
cycle thermally, and with the others, it just stays hot.
Well, when it stays hot for long enough that it starts to ruin the integrity of the actual circuit board, then you start cycling, it's going to end up dying and artifacting very quickly, relatively very quickly. Whether that takes a year or months or days, who knows?
Eee, never good.
No, especially not if you're going to get like a big graphics card that costs a lot of money. Like if you're going to get the 20 series or the 30 series, you want that to last, not be like,
Yeah.
oh, it's been 2 months and I've got to buy a new one.
Yeah, I've got an old 1070 that I've got saved up that is just it's an old one out of one of my machines that I've kept, that I'm planning on using when rebuilding one of my old machines into not necessarily a fancy computer, but one that I could run basic stuff on for like video editing or something.
Yeah,
So
you're not gonna go with the
that's a
fancy two streaming setup.
that's an old graphics card I've got that is used, but the previous owner is me, so I know what it's been through. Now,
Yeah,
what about
I used to
refurbed
have an old
graphics cards?
1050.
Actually, let's just cover like used graphics cards in general is kind of like a don't.
An
What
iffy.
about used parts in general?
I think if it's a part that doesn't get hot, if it's a computer part that doesn't need its own dedicated fan, I see no reason in buying it secondhand. For example, a sound card or an Ethernet card.
Yeah, yeah, I've gotten Ethernet cards secondhand before, no problems. Wi-Fi cards, they
I don't
still
see
make
it.
they still
I
make
don't
those.
see.
So yeah,
Go ahead.
the Wi-Fi cards, they still make those, so you can. Some machines don't come with built-in Wi-Fi capabilities, so you can mount that onto it, so it can connect to the Wi-Fi on its own.
Yeah, that kind of thing. I see no drawbacks in buying something used if you can find one at half price used.
Yeah. Also, those are not a heavy load item either. It's not like you're putting tons of load or power or anything onto them to burn them out.
I
Yeah,
think.
it's not gonna be the most expensive part in your build as well if it doesn't end up working as well.
Yeah, true.
CD
I think.
drives,
I
physical
wish
drives.
if Phil was here, I think he bought a secondhand motherboard.
Um, I've
I
gotten a
can't.
refurb one before, not a secondhand.
Well, yeah, like a refurbed board.
Yeah. Now there is. I will state there is a difference between used and refurbished.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
refurbished were overused and then made to usable again.
Yes, and to do that, they usually went through the actual company or a proper facility to get them up to proper spec. So, refurbed is a used device that has been inspected and rebuilt appropriately. If I remember correctly, the
Allegedly.
definition. Well, it depends on who did the refurb.
And it depends on. Well, yeah, you have to do your own research on if it's a good part to begin with.
Yeah, there are some components that certain companies are known for their durability. So if it's a refurbed one of those, it's probably fine. Others like if it's already cheap junk and it's refurbed, it's probably still going to be cheap junk. But I've used refurb equipment before and it's been fine. I've done refurbed motherboard and I don't remember having any major problems with it. It lasted several years. I want to say it lasted 5 years before it started going bad.
It's a good run.
Yeah.
yeah, the only secondhand things I've gotten from my build, not the actual PCs, like my peripherals. Like when I first started out, Cosson gave me his old mouse and keyboard headset, and webcam. So that's the only thing. Everything in my PC I've always bought brand new, so I can't really. I don't have
Secondhand
any. I don't have any experience from that.
keyboard. Hey, Wolf, look at the brand name on this.
IBM.
Why?
It tells you how old this thing is
Why?
Yeah, but why?
because it was free.
Can't
This
argue with that.
my keyboard. I had a Logitech keyboard I was using up until a couple of months ago. I took it apart to clean it,
Uh-oh.
and when I put it back together, don't know quite what I did, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, this particular keyboard I've had, I think, for over 15 years.
Damn.
Okay, I broke out this thing. I don't even think it's got. Yeah, it does have who made it on. It's an old Microsoft board. I bought it because my dad was in the Navy, and he said that after I asked him, because I toured a ship when I was a kid, and all their console lights on their consoles underneath the deck were red.
Yep,
And I asked him, how come it's all red? And he says, because red is easiest for your eyes to adjust to and look at, be lit up, and then look at the darkness and still, have vision.
yep,
And since I primarily game in the dark, I wanted something that lit up so I could see it, but I wanted it to be red. And everything was coming out with this RGB and the color flashing, and I just wanted red.
yep.
So that's what I bought. This keyboard is just red.
That's why I have a couple of red flashlights for back when I was doing a lot of hunting. You would use red because it doesn't carry as far, so other stuff in the area won't get disturbed by it. Also, it's a spectrum that a lot of animals can't see very well, if at all. Also, it works great for your night vision because you can use that and then go back to seeing easily in the dark.
I never thought about the not carrying far, but it makes sense since red wavelengths are the quickest.
Yep, they're the shortest. Yep, the short wavelength.
Does make sense.
Yep, but yeah. So I've got
Yeah,
a couple of red lights.
peripherals, I think, are also a good thing to buy always secondhand.
Yep,
Not always, but I don't see any reason not to.
I have never bought a set of new speakers. In fact, said I have here. I've had for a while, and I've got another 4 in the garage at least that I got secondhand from a school that was like, "We need to get rid of a lot of our old electronics." I'm like, "What are you getting rid of? Because I'll take it." So I got hard drives. I've got other stuff. I had the mice. I traded those to somebody. Traded a couple of printers. Those are pretty decent to get secondhand too.
There's something you can only get secondhand, and that's really old stuff.
Yep,
So
because
I
they don't
did
make it new.
I did computer repairing for a while, and some people would have old computers with I've even forgotten the name of it now. The purple and the teal circular mouse and keyboard ports.
Oh, yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
Not USB, so USB stuff wouldn't work with them.
Predecessor to them. Yep. I know
So
exactly what you're talking about.
I have a mouse and a keyboard that will fit those if I need them. And you can't buy those. Well, maybe you can buy those new, but
I might still have a mouse like that.
it's a handy thing to have if you ever need it. If you
Yep.
ever want to hear that old Packard Bell boot up sound.
We all remember those. Yep.
I,
So
I,
I think, like, I have acquired 2 new mice, one wireless, one wired. Only because my original mouse started wearing out, so it finally wore out after 8 years.
I've had my mouse. It's 2022. 16 years.
Yep. It's kind of like this keyboard. It just doesn't die.
Oh, my mouse is giving me a hard time, but I take it apart, I fix it. I've still got 2 more kits. I bought, I think, 3 or 4 kits that have new wire and the little
Oh, sensor?
the feet, the slidey feet.
Okay, the little pads.
Yeah, because the screws are underneath those,
Oh,
and I tried, but you cannot remove these without destroying them.
no, you cannot.
So if the wire ever goes bad or frays again, I'll have everything I need to make it work again. Because I love this mouse. I love the design, the shape of it, the feel of it. It fits me, and if it is with me when I die, that's good.
Hey, some of these very just simple things like the mouse, the keyboard, they're very low maintenance and they last.
If you're not a rage machine,
And where you're smashing your keyboard, yeah, there's that.
Well, even if you are a rage machine,
or
if you
a
get like lucky
dis
ones, like I'll admit I've hit my keyboard a few times, and I've had this keyboard for like 3 or 4 years, and everything still works. There's a few keys that are like a little cracked, but everything still works fine.
yeah,
So that's why I always give props to like the Razer keyboards and my mice. Like, yeah, they're a bit expensive, and it's the whole like, oh, Razer, the meme of Razer, but it's like they do quality stuff that lasts, in my opinion, from my experience.
yeah, the
I've had
architecture of keyboards is such that they are very hard to break.
yeah,
You can break the keys, but like the mechanic that makes the keys function, the little rubber
Yeah,
contact, yeah.
buttons,
the contacts, yeah.
the little rubber buttons, I mean, you can't really break those. Concussive force is not going to break those. So you can break the plastic, you can crack them, but the keyboard will still work.
Yeah, I'm just surprised, like how little. Like I said, it's like one key is like cracked. It's not even where I've hit it because I'd say I've hit more towards the space bar, but it's like when it's one of the F buttons, it's F3, which is like a little cracked. Basically the other end of the keyboard to the space bar.
I know pretty much every new keyboard, most old keyboards, the way that they're architectured is you can spill something straight onto the keys and it will just drip out through an access hole on the bottom and it won't even touch the electrical components inside it.
On the old ones or
Oh,
the new
cool.
ones?
All new ones, but most old ones too, were built with that.
I don't
Look on the bottom. Is there not a hole or a couple holes?
I
nope.
thought he was going to test it then. I thought he was like, right, let me just pull my drink out. I'm
Nope.
gonna look now.
Not unless it's no, I don't think so.
I don't
Is
see
that
a hole
is that hole
either.
in the center?
The center just gives me all my information about the product.
Nope, these are the anchoring screws, which there are a lot of, surprisingly.
Yeah, the only
Let's
holes I
see.
see are screws.
Model number,
Hmm.
serial number that's only 8 digits long. That's hilarious.
Maybe it's just hidden, but yeah, I don't see one.
Yeah, the Logitech that I took apart is an older one. I think it's a G510, and it had 2 holes in the main key section, 1 hole for the keypad, one for the arrows,
Nope,
and one for like the home delete section.
solid backing. USB ports still work on it though, built into the
It,
keyboard.
the fact that it has those is surprising.
Well, it's also got the
How old?
media control dial on it,
I've
along
got
with
two.
quick access buttons where you could push the button and it would actually open up some Microsoft programs.
Those were my least favorite buttons on any keyboard.
They don't
Never
obviously don't work anymore because the OS they were designed for is many generations old.
I never liked the fact of taking up all the real estate on the keyboard for buttons that you're realistically probably never going to use, and that if you ever accidentally hit, are going to cause problems for whatever you're currently doing.
Now, the interesting part is this does have a forward and back button for the internet browser, and they still work.
I think things like that are the play, the stop, the next. forward, back, volume up, volume down. I don't think those will ever stop working.
Probably not. Not unless the software advances to the point it doesn't recognize what the keyboard's trying to do, which is
Well,
theoretically
every
possible.
every new release of Windows is just a Frankenstein slap on of the last version of Windows with a whole bunch of new code on it. So chances are, until they remake it from the ground up and break everything that's ever been made for Windows, I think it'll still work.
Probably. Yeah. Now, I want to drift us still on our main topic, but slightly more internalized. We've talked about the how. What do y'all think about fans?
I think fans could be is it like something not too bad you could get secondhand. You know, the fans are unless you get fancy ones, they're pretty cheap, and you know the simple function, spin, cool
I
your PC down.
I think some fans are a little too overzealous. Like they have way too much passion for the thing that they like the Twilight fans.
Knew that's where you were going. Oh yeah,
Uh,
some fans can be very toxic.
I've never bought fans. I've never had to. I always buy the case with everything that it needs, and I've always bought the components with everything that they need. So I've never actually bought a fan.
I bought.
I don't think I've ever bought a fan because yeah, I think my case always came with it, and then the cooler, you know, the CPU cooler came obviously with fans as well.
I've ended up with fans from either cases that were donated or etc., but I
Yeah,
never ended up using them because, like I said, everything that I bought had everything it needed.
yeah,
Yeah.
I might have like fans in my build from like other cases, but yeah, I've never specifically bought a fan.
Well, a couple of my older computers, when they came with a fan on the case, it was one fan, a rear exhaust fan. And that was it. That's all it came with.
Yeah,
So when I built this new one, the case did not come with any fans, so I bought and added fans to it. But I just found some ones brand that I was told was decent, bought 4 of them and put them all in.
I don't have an opinion on used fans because I've never bought one. I I'm iffy on it because if you buy a bad one, it's cheap, right? You're not really hurting, especially if you're getting it at a used price. But I've also had fans of mine go squeaky, go slow, fall out of the glue for the fan comes off from the bearing, so it stops spinning, even though it's getting the electricity. And if you push it back on there, it'll spin.
Oh, or it just yeah, it tries to start separating. Yep.
Like those are issues you don't want to run into sooner than later.
I mean, once they get to that point, there's kind of not much you can really do about them. I don't think you can really fix that, can you?
I think if you take it apart and you reattach it to the I don't know the technical name
The
for the
motor,
pieces.
the fan itself to the fan motor, that thing.
Yeah, whatever separation occurs when that event happens, I think is repairable, but still something that you could avoid by not buying it used.
True.
Something you could better avoid, I should say.
Maybe you can. Maybe it, when it goes bad, it just goes bad. What about some of the rest of it? Oh, here's one. Power supplies.
no, it's something I would not want to get secondhand. Not unless again it was somebody who I trusted. That's a very important part of your
I've
PC there.
I've purchased brand new power supplies that were lemons.
I mean, yeah, you can obviously buy brand new parts that are
Yeah.
broken as well, but
Yeah.
then
So,
you tend to be
given
able to do something about it. Then you can obviously contact the seller. Where if it's secondhand, they can just the person if they're asking, just like, it's secondhand. What do you expect? You bought it from me now. Tough
yeah,
titties. Where companies
given
kind of have to honor the whole send back and replace if not working thing.
given that it is dead on arrival, or from my experience, the highest potential part of a computer to be dead on arrival, I would not fuck with that as a refurb or as used.
No,
Fair.
If
I
you
wouldn't take the chances.
if you get a power block that somebody refurbed and maybe it was the technician's last day, maybe it was their 13th hour on the shift,
Ooh.
maybe the postman dropped it a couple of times and there's a cross wire and you put your $2,000 video card that needs two fucking electrical ports directly into the card and it shorts. Well, now you're hosed.
Now you've got a PC that doesn't work and a GPU.
And now you're screwed. Like that, pretty much?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've only bought new. I've been given a couple that were in decent shape, and I've used them. Um, including one that was a modular system that I just stripped the cables off of to reuse.
Interesting.
I had two modular units, and I needed extra cables, so I took them off the old one and put them on the other one, and they worked just fine.
Hey, if it
Because
works.
they're just wires.
Yeah.
And speaking of wires, what about have y'all ever encountered any issues with like used or secondhand wiring?
No.
It it's possible for a wire to be dead, but again, not a very expensive problem to have.
Yeah, because I've got like Ethernet cables. They get passed around a lot unless there's obvious problems with the cable. I've never encountered a problem where it didn't work.
Plus, with internet cables, there's many different kinds that have different load capacities.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you're not going to hit that, but if you
No.
get an old enough one, you might.
What are you running? A Cat 3 cable on something that requires Cat 5?
Exactly, but somebody might not know the difference, or that there is a difference, or that there are 20 different like types now of Ethernet cable.
Way too many. I just stick with Cat 5 for the basic stuff because it's all I need. It's durable, it works great, no problems.
I think most of what the newer generations of cable do is just have more fancy stuff going on inside to lower noise and interference, but for most household applications, that's not going to be an issue.
Right? If you're 5 or 10 feet from your router, you're
Yeah,
not going to
if
get a
you're
whole lot
running
of signal degradation at that point.
if you're running a business where you need to have high bandwidth internet on all of your computers and you're running like an internet cafe with 5 T1 connections, then
That's a whole different issue.
you might want to consider, high end cables, but until then, it's not necessary.
No.
So I think for most use cases, buying used wires is not a bad idea, but
Especially if you're trying to
for
save money.
yeah, depending on how much money you're gonna save, I don't know how much money you're actually gonna save buying a used versus new wire.
Well, my thought is just if you're going used on all your peripherals, mouse, keyboard, your extra wires, maybe optical drive if you're using one.
I think if you
Money saved on that could go towards like a graphics card or whatever.
if you go on Craigslist every couple hours for 3 days. I'm pretty confident you will find a mouse and keyboard for free if you are not picky.
Facebook Marketplace, I think, generally has them for like very like handful of dollars, and like somebody's like, I got these like garage sale prices.
Yeah, they're not even really looking to sell them. They just don't want them anymore, and they're hoping maybe they can get half of a taco for one.
But yeah, price of tacos have gone up, so $1 tacos are now $2 tacos.
Ow. That's how you know life's getting hard.
Right?
Fuck, the fuel price is going up, not the tacos.
Your dollar taco price has gone up. You're like, oh.
That's where you just end it. Like, no, can't live without tacos. I can walk, but I can't not eat my tacos.
It's like you dare threaten the price value of my tacos?
Well, you can find tacos for $1, but you have to get a refurbished one.
Or a second-hand taco, one that's been half
Ooh,
eaten.
secondhand taco. No, thank you.
Already been processed.
No, ew, ew, ew. Pass, pass, pass. All right, we've already. Here's one that I think I know the exact answer all of you are gonna give me on this one, but I'm gonna ask it anyway.
Is it CPU?
It's
Is it
CPU.
CPO? I was gonna say, would not really want to buy that second-hand. Unless, again, trusted. A lot of my answers are gonna be the same. If I trust the person, sure, but no.
Now, is there even an option to refurb a CPU? I've never looked, to be honest.
Not that I would know of, but I'm not the best person to answer that sort of question. Because I wouldn't think, how would you refurbish it?
Yeah, I don't think any kind of third party is going to be able to.
Yeah.
That's just I don't even know if it's even an option.
Like like my old what was it, like Intel i5, I think it was. I sold that to my colleague quite a few years ago, but and I just told him, it was looked after, but it was, obviously a little used, I used it for like 3 years, game basically every day on it, so it's not been the best condition. And he was like, no, that's fine. And he never told me, oh, I had issues with this, it's broken or whatever. So if it's a trusted person, then it's fine. But if it was just off the internet, or anything from somewhere that I can't be confident about, I'd be like, no, I'm not trusting this. I need to know my CPU works.
I think I'm thinking about it like I wouldn't sway towards buying a used card. I wouldn't sway towards buying a used CPU. But I think if you can find them all together, like a used computer, an actual used computer, it's probably going to be okay.
A functioning used computer,
Yeah,
specifically.
if you can get proof that it's working before finalizing the purchase, then yeah.
Okay, so I just looked. Apparently, 'cause I hopped onto Newegg just to see. Is like, is refurb? Do they even have a listing for like refurbed CPUs? And the answer looks like yes.
Oh, okay.
By
Um,
who? By whom?
I haven't gotten that far yet.
By whom, and can we trust them?
Well, the trust thing is definitely highly in question by default. Let's see, desktop processors. Let's just narrow this down. Let's make it Intel since you've already mentioned that. Yes, we can sort by seller.
If there's a third party, I'm going to be pretty surprised.
These look like a lot of independent groups, no named. Like, there's a couple of like companies. You see, Newegg has some with their name on them. The rest of these are all groups I do not recognize the names of. some that are marked as wholesaler, so they might have taken used computers and stripped them for parts and selling them as individual parts.
Yeah, but that's not refurbished.
If they took it out of a used machine, they may have inspected it, verified it's still functioning, and they may call it refurbed. I don't know. So, okay. Newegg does say that they do have refurbed Intel CPUs that are listed as shipped by Newegg, so it seems to come from them. Let me see. Here's an i5. Most of these look like they're older. Yeah, most of these look older. Here we go. What is this one? Intel Core i5 second gen i5 2500. Sandy Bridge quad core. 4.5 on reviews for a total of 3 reviews. Apparently, people have gotten these and rated them decently. So I guess there are refurbed CPUs.
Yeah, that's what you every day.
I always got to take reviews for parts with a grain of salt because most people will review it soon after receiving the item, and if it fizzles out like 2 weeks later, even they won't think to go back onto the market and leave a comment.
Yeah, I've seen some people do it where they'll be like, edit, I've been using this for 2 weeks, blah blah blah. But yeah, there's not a lot of them. Most of them will just be like, just plugged it in, works great.
Yeah, they list ownership time 1 week to 1 month. Reviews from 2017, 2018, and 2020. One guy did return it. Does not list why he wanted to return it. That was a 3-star review, and the others were 5s. So, I don't know. Not something I would trust unless you're desperate, I would
Or
say.
unless it's a really good value.
Unless it's a really good value. I mean, they had AMD sockets over here, I think, that were Ryzen's. No, that's AM2s.
And then you're getting into the if it's too good to be true territory.
It probably is, yeah.
Whoa,
AMD
I can get a
Athlon
Threadripper for
64.
200 bucks.
Oh damn, my lucky
Yeah,
day.
but how old is it? Well, the Threadripper is from like 5 years ago?
Shh, that's secret.
Uh huh. Uh huh. Uh huh. I see how it is. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, what about not necessarily what about CPU fans for
Again,
if you're doing
fans
air
I'd be
cooled?
more. Again, fans I'd be more inclined to, because again, not as expensive, not as important. A bit more expensive than just a regular fan, with it being the CPU one, depending on like what sort of cooler you're going with. If
I've
it's just
never
if it's just
I,
like a radiator, it's going to be cheaper. But if it's like if it's like water cooler, it'd be more.
I've never had a CPU fan fail. But that being said, I did have a laptop a long time ago that a software update for the driver disabled the fans for the GPU.
Oh
And
no.
while I was beta testing StarCraft 2, it melted my unit
Whew.
Nice.
because the fans weren't spinning and it didn't auto shut off until it just stopped. It died, literally died, the whole thing.
Yikes.
So I would be skeptical to buy a CPU fan used just because I wouldn't want it to stop working for any reason that I wouldn't, be privy to. Somebody
Yeah.
spilled soda on it, maybe, so they're getting rid of it. You gotta ask, why are they getting rid of it? Did they upgrade to a better one? Well, then, is this one even worth putting in, or should I get a better one?
Yeah. Now that would be a question if it was just straight used. Uh, what about refurbed?
Probably fine.
Okay, because I've
If it's
never
just
messed
a
with like
radiator, it's
water
probably
cooling.
fine, but I would inspect it first. Because I just redid my CPU radiator. I bought this computer as a unit off a Newegg pre-build. It just had all the parts, all the boxes were ticked perfectly, so I got it. But it came with the default cooler. When I took off the default cooler and I looked at it on the heat plate where it makes contact with the CPU, it's got cracks and a pit.
Oh,
So there was a noticeable like pit on my CPU where it had pressed and chafed and just indented.
that's
It's
not
still
good.
it's very small, so it's fine with the use of thermal paste, but still, if a brand new unit can come out with the aluminum in such a state that it's cracked and pitted, I would definitely inspect a used one before installing it.
Yeah, always inspect them. Always. Just because it's supposed to be good doesn't mean necessarily it is. So always inspect your stuff. 100%.
See, and I've been tempted to try and put my old one up for sale, but I kind of figure what's the point? Because A, it's the default that comes with the unit. So if you have the CPU, you're probably already given that cooler. And B, it's the default one. So it's arguably one of the worst options for anybody who needs one.
Also, I will point out it is probably good to have in case your main goes bad. You have something.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say for like if you were gonna sell it, that could be why somebody needs a replacement. But yeah, it's always good to have an option to replace it yourself
Yeah, and then I
if
would
it was
want to
break.
disclose to them, be like, hey, look at it closely. You see these cracks? You see that pit? They exist. Do you still want this?
Yeah, don't be that asshole that's like, oh no, it's in good condition. A bit of wear and tear, like yeah, tell them like, hey, this is what's wrong with it, so you know what you're buying, and if you still
Yeah,
want it, cool.
it's
Yeah, when
brand new, but
I've
It's brand
sold
new, trust me.
some used stuff, not computer stuff, but just normal used stuff on eBay before, and I show them actual pictures of the item. And like, this is the actual thing. If you've got questions or you want more pictures, let me know, and I'll show you all of it.
Yeah, I'm more inclined to buy if when I have used like Facebook Marketplace, whatever. More inclined to for people who say that, or if they show like pictures and then be like, "Hey, it's got a few cracks here. It's got this scratch. This is what's wrong with it." So then they're more trustworthy because they're showing you, "Hey, it's not great."
Yeah, here's legitimately how it is.
Yeah,
Or if you have more questions on this, contact me, let me know, and I'll answer it. I mean,
yeah, the
it's
ones
just,
that are actually just trying to sell a product instead of scam someone.
yeah, it's, I've got the thing I want to sell. Please buy my thing. That reminds me, I actually have part I should probably post up to see if any of y'all want. I bought it for this machine, and then turns out I didn't need the damn thing. So its total runtime of usage is like 5 minutes.
So it's not brand new;
No,
it's used.
once you
extremely
drive it
lightly
off the
used.
lot, its value drops by half. Keep that in mind before you
Yeah,
try to.
yeah.
How's 20 bucks?
The second that seal is broken from the box, used,
For a
worthless.
Threadripper, sold.
It's not a Threadripper. I forget exactly what it is. It's on the top shelf over there. I gotta grab it. I'll do that later.
Yeah, it's better than my CPU. I do need to upgrade.
It's not a CPU. It's an
Oh,
accessory.
no.
Oh, is it your cat ears?
No,
You ain't selling those. I bought them for you.
they were free. I didn't pay for them.
I will sue you.
For what?
You're not in America. You can't compete with our bullshit lawyers.
Right?
Yeah, yeah, I know.
Don't try
It's
to
quite top.
apply a British law to America. It doesn't
Yeah, it's
work.
quite. So I was saying
Yeah,
it's quite topical. We were talking yesterday about the whole like trying to sue someone in America.
we separated from your country as a rebellion over a 2% tax, and now we tax ourselves like 30+%. So you want America
Smart.
illogic, man? GFY.
Yeah, I can't even argue with that. I can see why, America is the land of the great, You
Land of the
rebelled against
free, the
you,
home of the brave.
you rebelled against a good deal for a shit deal, but you go with it being the better deal.
Definitely the brave, because we're definitely brave enough to sue you over a cup of coffee or a
Why
cup
don't
of
you
tea.
mail me some tea and see what happens, Jordan?
Sure, I'll do it.
I'll drive to the nearest ocean, which is 20 hours away.
Worth it for the bit. You gotta live stream it. I want to see it happen, in real time.
Yeah, I spend like $800 in gas just to throw the $3 fucking packet of Earl Grey into the Pacific.
Yeah, just to prove a point, it's worth it.
Hey, if you got the money,
If not, just go to your local pond. It does the same thing.
there's lakes near him.
Yeah,
I could
go to your.
walk to one.
There you go. You don't have to spend any fuel on it.
Yep. It's like, you see this? This is your tea. You see that? Yoink!
Shoink.
Off
I
in the
might get
water.
in trouble because there's fish and ducks in that pond, but
They might like the taste of Earl Grey. You don't know. Has
It's
anyone ever
it's
tried to give Earl
plant
Grey to
based.
fish to see what happens? Yeah,
I'm
it's
sure
plant-based.
someone has.
Some British person probably has.
Well, I'm sure someone has, but has anyone legitimate done it as like for research and
Knowing
documented the
Some Brit,
results?
probably Brit or Canadian.
knowing how fucking drunks some British drunks can get, yes, it has
Yeah,
happened.
yeah, you're not wrong. I'm not even gonna try and fight you on that. We do have some pretty drunks over here. Doesn't make sense, but it does at the same time. Drunks.
Yeah, here
There's
you
different
got the
degrees of drunk.
alcoholics.
Yep.
Here you got alcoholics that drown their sorrows, right? Over there you have
Yep.
alcoholics that
Just drink just to beat the wives or something. I don't know.
No, they drink to get rid of the taste of the tea.
That's a meme over here. Like, do you have Stella beer over there? You have a brand
yeah,
called Stella. Yeah,
yeah.
over here it's known as the wife beater drink because like it's like a stereotype that all like abusive guys to their wives girlfriends drink Stella.
Well, we got a friend in our group that every Thursday on wing night he orders 1 to 4 Stellas.
Well, you can tell him
So
this if you wish. You can be like, if you lived in England, you'd be classed as a wife beater for drinking that.
Now, if the wife is the one ordering it and drinking it, does that make her the husband beater?
Enabler. Well, oh, she's the one drinking it. Yes, I guess. I don't know. I've never heard, never came across that question, but I guess yeah,
Or do they
we
have
can't be
their own
sexist
special
here.
drink instead?
no, that's like their special single and looking for a specific type of person drink.
Yeah, that sounds more like it. I was gonna say the more specific, I guess, wife beater
The
would be
masochistic
wine.
woman's drink, I guess.
Because I think that's the stereotypical I'm drinking because I want to get drunk because I'm going through some shit drink for women is wine.
It's like, what's the cheapest beer I can get that's going to
Specifically
get me
in a
drunk?
box.
Here you go.
Yeah. Yes, box wine. Yes, box wine.
Box wine. Yep.
Yeah, you got to get that big 2-gallon box and put the little Capri Sun straw in it, and just
just suck it straight from it.
in the froggy fetal position on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, empty
Yeah.
wine glass that you haven't even poured into. It's just there for
We don't need no
if
stinking
somebody
wine
shows up.
glass. We have
This
box.
is. I was gonna say this is very detailed for scenario. Have you got something you want to tell us, Wolf?
No, I just have
He's
vivid
been there with the box.
imagination.
He's been there with the box on the couch.
Yeah.
I can't recall if I've ever had boxed wine.
I
You did?
have.
You got so drunk you forgot it?
I have because my nan when she was alive she used to drink a lot of boxed wine and when she'd occasionally let me have like a glass for like New Year's. Was not nice. I do not like wine. I don't know if I'd like red wine because she only drank white wine, but did not like it.
I've
Don't know.
had like 8 different wines, and 6 of them were awful, and one of them was good, and one of them was great.
I don't know how many wines I've tried because she would just get the cheapest because she was an alcoholic, so she just wanted to drink just to drink.
I've had a couple of
So
wines. The best one I had, I can unfortunately no longer get. I'm kind of sad about that
Oh,
because
why?
he
Because you're a
made it
registered
homemade.
felon?
No, he made it homemade, and he has passed on.
Didn't keep a
That's no
recipe
good.
written down.
So, I no longer have that source for that wine.
I have a similar story, but about rum cake.
Rum cake.
Rum
Rum
cake.
cake.
That could be really good.
Sign
It's
me up.
it was a bundt cake that was like some sort of yellow. I forget which. Is it just yellow cake?
Probably just yellow cake, yeah.
It was yellow cake, but the sauce stuff that they put on it absolutely like I don't know if they boiled the alcohol out or not because there was still a little bit of that throat heat when you ate it,
Yep.
but it was a fantastic cake. They gave one to my grandmother every single year, but would not part with the recipe.
Yep.
Respectable.
There's a lot of people like that that it's like they know how to make it just right. You're like, "Can I get the recipe for this?" They're like, "No." Not
No.
happening.
I don't understand it, man. You make a good thing and you want to hide it from the world. It doesn't make sense to me. If you're not profiting off of it, go fuck yourself. Share the recipe.
Maybe they are
That's my
profiting off of
opinion.
it and they were just giving it to her for free.
Yeah, maybe. It's like they don't want other people then to start making it and stealing their profits.
I don't think they were though because they worked at the same place, and if you were selling cake that good for money, you probably wouldn't be needing to work at the place she was working. You know?
Maybe
Don't
just
know.
maybe they were selling it on the black market.
No, it's the wives' market.
The wives
Black
market.
market for cake.
Black market for cake.
Hey, I'd buy from there.
They're going for speed.
There was if there was like a dark web for cake, not like any weird cakes that's probably that probably is on the dark web. Don't want any body parts in my cake. But if there's like a dark web cake for like this rum cake, I'd buy it. I'd go on the dark web for that.
Oh boy. So we're a little off topic with the
Dark
shenanigans.
web's not a subject I'm going to touch with it.
How long have we been live for? I want to say like
An
let's
hour.
make up a number an hour. Okay, we probably actually talked about our actual topic for about 20 minutes of that.
About
Closer to
yeah,
30, I think, but yeah.
I don't know
Um,
about that.
I said closer to. I didn't say it was actually at
Well,
that point.
if it's closer to half an hour, then at least it's even. You know, we've half derailed, half been on topic. So
Yeah, I think that's about normal for us.
yeah.
Um,
Well, we didn't get on topic until about. I,
Yeah, I
we
was
started
thinking maybe
late. Yeah,
if we got the derailed first would stay on topic, but that did not happen.
yeah. Oh, here's one, and I have mixed opinions on this one based off of which it is. Hard drives.
Hard drive, I knew it. Yeah, that'd be another one that I'd be kind of more inclined to do, but it'd also
Spin.
depend on like the dodginess of like what could be on it. What do they do with it?
Well, like if it's a spin drive, oh yeah, it's probably good to go unless you've been dropping it
Yeah,
because those things they until they go bad, they just keep going.
because
They're
I see a
just
lot. I always see
tanks.
a lot of people sell hard drives because like oh it's like a I don't know, we'll say like a 1 terabyte hard drive and they've upgraded because they've run out of space to like a 4 terabyte hard drive. So it's like, oh, I
Yeah,
don't need
that's
this one anymore. So it's like, here, if anybody wants it, if they don't have a terabyte already, if somebody only has like a 500 megabyte,
yeah.
boom.
I don't.
I've passed hard drives around like that between me and some other people. It's like, oh yeah, here,
I
and now
don't
I
abide
have a
by that
stack of them.
philosophy.
Okay.
I I because I'm given randomly so many old computers, I'll take the hard drives out. This brand new computer has
Mhm.
the SVME drive in it, and it's got two more Frankenstein in there. One of them is a 120 gig flash drive that has nothing on it but two games. Because
Yeah,
rather than upgrade and put it on a new drive, I could just pop in the drive that's already fucking got them on it.
Fair.
yeah. I've got 2 boxes of hard drives up here that one of these days I'm gonna have to go through and find out what else on them because nobody knows.
That's not something I would keep in my house without knowing.
Well, I know who the original owners are, so that's okay.
That's not something I'd keep in my house without knowing. I've
Even if you
have
Some
you
of them
have you
are mine, okay?
have you ever done computer repair for strangers?
No.
There's a reason why I adopted a philosophy to never ever
never check the
poke,
hard drive.
to never poke, to never look, to never
No.
search, to
Never.
never
You
be
might
tempted.
you
No.
might see
Never
something
do.
you don't want to see.
Because
You'll-
one time I did. One time I did. Once.
I
Never
want to
again.
ask. I want to ask, but
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I'm thinking the worst, and I'm scared that it is the worst.
It can be a whole lot of bad without being criminal, or it could be straight up criminal.
I'm thinking of the criminal side of the worst.
Well, don't be poking around the hitman's laptop when he needs it repaired.
Not that kind of criminal.
The thing is though,
Could be.
the one that I poked on was somebody that I knew.
Oh
Oh.
boy.
That's even worse.
So once I started working on strangers' computers, I made it my philosophy:
Don't
get
get
in,
tempted.
get out. That's it.
Yeah. No, I know
There's no temptation anymore.
about
There's
half of
zero. There's none.
one of
See,
those
I'd fall
boxes,
into that
half of them
temptation.
are my old hard drives from like 15, 20 years ago when I would rotate out hard drives because, oh, I've got a 128 gig hard drive. Oh, hey, the new 256 is out. Okay, I have a 256 now. Then, so there's 128s, 256, 512s. No terabyte hard drives in there.
I think I think this one that came with the computer is the first terabyte hard drive I've ever had.
Yeah, what I've got in this machine, my current machine, is the first terabyte I've ever had. But once I clear out those old drives and I finally get around to refurbing one of my old desktops, I can turn it into a media machine that's got nothing but like music and movies on it, and then hook it up in my living room to my TV.
That's what my buddy
Baller.
did. My buddy's got like a 4 terabyte hard drive with nothing but media.
Oh no, this will probably be like a chain of like 512s all set up in it. Like I'll run like
Damn.
4 drives in it.
I mean, if you're gonna make it as like a media specific one, you wouldn't need a lot of space, so it makes sense.
Well, it'd be one of those like I've got some downloaded movies, downloaded TV shows.
Yeah.
I can store all those in there. I can store all the music on there, and then like, hey, I'll run this playlist that lasts 8 hours. Whoop. And that's extra space I don't have to worry about on this computer.
More room for games.
Yep. Or if I borrow movies from somebody, I can always download the movie off the DVD, and then now I have it. And I give the DVD back.
But that's stealing.
Piracy.
I mean, yes, it is, unless I actually own a copy of it. It is not illegal to do so if you're doing it to create a backup of stuff you have. That is explicitly included in the laws that you can make a backup of your own property.
Is it stealing if you rent a DVD from Blockbuster and when they provide you with the case, it has 2 copies of the same movie in it and you just return one?
Technically, yes.
Yes. Yeah. They
Technically,
owned it.
yes.
It's their fault they gave you two, but
Yeah.
they do own
Now, we
both.
do not endorse stealing stuff. We do not.
No.
Well, their business model was airtight, so
I'm just
is
saying, as a whole, we do. TekTox does not endorse piracy. No, 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 no.
No. No form of stealing.
No. Making
Oh,
backups for your own sake, yes, that is perfectly fine and legal.
or downloading ROMs so you can play the games that you actually own but can't play because your console's borked. I
Yep.
don't, I don't, I think if I remember correctly, when I was reading on the PlayStation emulator, um, owning the games is legal. ROMs for the games is legal. Owning the emulator is legal. The only thing that was legally questionable is the I forget what type of file it is, but it's like the main executable file for the actual PlayStation.
Oh, like the PlayStation specific executable file?
I forget what it's called. I remember the name of it. It was like something 1001.
Could it be one of
Can
the
find out.
config files?
It's the one thing that doesn't come with the emulator when you download it. You have to find it elsewhere because it's the one part that's not.
That I have no idea. Never owned or messed with a play. Never owned a PlayStation. Never emulated a PlayStation. I've played on one that a friend had, but that's it.
Yeah, I wanted to play a PlayStation game and I couldn't find the CD. I tore up the whole house once, so I got the emulator and it was
Well,
so fantastic.
I've got a game that I have the original box it came in. I can't find the damn CDs for it.
The BIOS, that's what it is.
Oh, the BIOS file? Yeah.
Everything is perfectly legal except the BIOS.
Probably because it's proprietary for PlayStation.
And there's different ones too for the different regions.
Yep. Oh, that is right. They did a region locking was a thing. I always thought that was dumb.
Well, when you got censorship laws and stuff like that, there's a reason for it.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Copyright laws,
I guess, yeah, okay.
different monetary
I guess, yeah, I
taxes.
guess that does make sense. When you put it that way. But what about solid state drives?
I'd say my stay on my stance on SSDs will be the same as hard drives.
You're
I
fine
don't
with
know.
used?
I would be fine as long as it's again trusted. I'd be more inclined to buy a second-hand one. Yeah, of a solid state drive as well as a hard drive. Yeah,
As
If
long
I
as it's
could
been
take it,
cleaned?
yeah, as long as it's been cleaned. Yes, I don't want your dodgy shit on there. I don't want whatever Wolfie found while cleaning that PC on one that I'm buying.
no, you don't. If if I don't know if I'd be comfortable buying one online, but if I could go to a place and bring my laptop and slip it in and do a quick check on the health of it, then it checks out and it's perfect. But I
Yeah,
want to be able to test it.
yeah, anything that I'm like, yeah, I'd be more inclined to like, yeah, I'd always be like, I'd prefer to see that it works.
I'm
Anything that's electronical, I want to see work before I buy it.
I'm 1 and 2 on SSDs right now. I've owned 2, both new. One went to shit quickly, the other has not gone bad at all. And by to shit quickly, I mean I don't think it lasted a year and a half.
I've only ever had one hard drive fail, and it wasn't even mine.
Now
And it,
that one SSD is the only one I've had really go bad.
and it was a spin drive. It was a micro spin drive, the ones you find in laptops.
Oh, the laptop hard drives? Or are you talking about one of the even smaller ones?
No, I think it's bigger than a laptop, but it's as thick as one.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because there were for the desktop hard drives, spin drives, there's two sizes. The original, I think it was like inch and a quarter thick ones, and then there's the newer ones, which are about a half inch.
Yeah, it's a spin drive that was thinner, and it
Yep,
went bad. So
that's
he
the newer
it was
generation ones.
it was my uncle's, and he's got like family photos and stuff he wanted to rip off of it. And I tried a couple of different things, barring taking it apart.
If you know a good hard drive tech, they can literally
Transplant,
transplant the
yeah,
disk.
that's what I was tempted to do, but I've screwed with those discs before, and they're so easy to.
Hmm.
So I don't have like a dust-free room that I can work on it in.
Yeah,
You
no,
see,
I
yeah,
knew a guy who had done several of those and knew how to do it. I might still have his contact info somewhere, but yeah, he was able to transplant the actual disc out successfully.
Yeah, that was my plan Z. My final,
That is your final option, yeah.
yeah, my final option was a transplant, and I thought about doing it myself, but I had a friend way back in the day who would do all sorts of hardware stuff, and he had a couple of those little discs laying around, and I touched one, and it's hard to describe because there's nothing like it. Not the sensation of feeling it, but when you touch it, you just barely touch it. Your fingerprint is on there, and it is so clear
Yep,
because the magnetic or the divots or however it works on a microscopic level is so abrasive. It just grabs all that from
yep.
your finger, and it will never come off.
Nope. Mm-mm. You killed it. You killed the drive. You ruined it, Wolf. You
So
ruined it.
I wouldn't want to. Well, the driver's already ruined. That's why he let me touch it. Maybe he just wanted my fingerprint. I don't know.
Possible.
good way to get it.
That's a good way to get it, yeah.
You see, I've only ever owned two SSDs, and I still have them in my build to this day. Like the first one I've had since like my original build that I got like 6 years ago. And saying I've never had problems with them. They both work fine throughout the entire thing.
Yeah,
And my original one, the Evo, the 751, and a bit, then like 2 3 years ago, I got another one when I upgraded my build, the 970 Evo, and they both work great.
Yeah, I've got three, technically three hard drives in this computer. I've got an M.2 that the OS is on, and then I've got a spin drive that's got all my just standard data files on, and then I've got the SSD, which is most of the software.
looking at my
I've obviously got my system stuff on my on the 971.
like I was saying, so since I don't upgrade hard drives and put all of my stuff on the new one, I just have a new one, put more new stuff on it, and keep the old ones with the old stuff. I've got a what is it, Samsung Evo 840
Yeah.
Evo, 120 gig. It has done nothing but provide me with Sea of Thieves for 2.5 computer builds and Skyrim for 3 builds.
Yeah, I
Yep,
only
I
put
believe
like
it.
I only put like important games that I play a lot on my SSD since they're not that big. Send my hard drives, and I got two terabyte ones, but then yeah, my SSDs are only, as I said, 250 gig and 120. So I don't put big games on them, and I only put games that I know I'm going to play a lot on them. All my other games go on my hard drives.
I would uh, I would recommend putting all of your potential long load time games on the SSD, and
Yeah,
anything that's not a long load time game you can put on anyone.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because at that point, speed matters.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
even think of it, but then game.
frequency I
I
think
don't,
is less important than you. I don't know what you call that.
I can't really think of any games that I do play right now that take a long time to load. I know obviously a game I used to play a lot was GTA, but that's bit of a. I think that would be too big of a. No, last time I saw, I think it was like 60 to 80 gigs. No, it could fit on it.
80 to let me.
It's probably more now because they keep coming out with updates and
Yeah, and
expansions and everything.
expansions and
Like
such.
Warzone won't be able to go on it because that was 100 gigs when it first came out, and now it's
Yeah,
probably like 200 gigs,
It's 105
105.
for
for
GTA.
GTA.
I should
So yeah,
probably remove it because I haven't been playing it.
I don't even have that much space. I don't even have GTA installed anymore because I haven't played it in ages. But I'd have to delete some stuff because I don't even have that much on either of them on my
My
on
buddies
my.
were my buddies were playing it online, and I was joining them until I bought like my own started my own empire basically, and it cost me like $6 million to do, and found that it will only reward me with like $10,000 per hour.
Yeah, it's a lot of grinding doing that.
So it's not my second life. It's a game I want to enjoy, so I
Yeah,
tapped out.
Yeah, I didn't do that, right? I just did a motorcycle club and just did it the here and there. I didn't do like the CEO or anything to take like do an empire.
It was a mistake. I should have just bought a bitching car for all four of us to sit in and not bothered with
Or
the.
that, yeah, that works as well. Yeah, I've only got 60 gigs spare on one and then 20 gigs spare on the other. So yeah, not enough for GTA.
I don't have GTA yet. I've never.
It's a fun game. I used to be obsessed with it. I used to play that
It
shit every day
never.
on
It
the
never held
PS3.
any appeal to me. It never did.
I can't say what piqued my interest for so much for so long, but for like just 3 years, I used to play that game basically every single day back on the PS3.
Yeah,
I
it's
I wish this was still a thing, but buying used or refurbed games.
buying the game used from somebody. Yeah.
It's becoming less and less of a thing, not only because they're not
Well, it's not.
physical copies,
Yeah.
Yeah, digital
but
copies.
even if they are physical copies, a lot of games now are online and will have a CD key that might not let you use it.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of still a thing with the not the physical copies anymore, the digital copies, but you have to like people sell their accounts
Yeah.
with
You
the
have to
game.
sell your entire account, which most
Yeah,
people are not willing to do.
no. Like I said, I often see a lot of like just people being like, "Hey, here's my Steam account that's got like 600 games on. You can have it for like 500 quid." I'm just like, "No thanks."
No. That'd be hilarious. Someone get plays, runs a lot of hacks or mods, and gets banned on most of their stuff, then sells their account to
Yeah,
somebody.
that that would be actually. And there's that thing around a lot that I've seen recently where apparently there's this Steam account that you can log into, like the details are like public online, and if you log into it has like every Steam game on it, so you can just play any Steam game you want for free. Apparently, it sounds a little dodgy and sus to me. Like, am I
It
gonna like
really does,
am I
yeah.
gonna get a virus for logging into this account? Like, why would somebody buy all the games and then just give it out for free? It seems weird, but yeah, that's apparently a
I
thing I've
got
seen a lot.
nothing. That's definitely, as you put it, sounds dodgy.
Yes.
The only, I mean, the only thing that
100%.
I can see happening from that is if they request that you change the password and they take note of what you change the password to.
I don't think it does, but I don't know. I've only seen videos of people just showing that they can log in. It has like millions of games, and then they put the details in the description. I've never seen anything other than that. And it's like user blah 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 blah, and then the password is like a load of numbers.
I don't. Nothing would be downloaded for doing that. The only other thing that I can think of, besides them potentially phishing you by trying to coax you into password change and writing that down, would
I say
be
I don't know.
if they
Would
can
it would
grab your, maybe they can grab your IP
yeah? That's what I was
by
gonna say.
looking
Like
off of your login
yeah,
logs.
yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Like I assume that when you log in, they would be able to find out. They would have a way to be able to find the IP of that login, and they could find then they have your IP.
Which isn't even that big of an issue because I mean, you could type in random numbers and have an IP address.
No.
Why would they
Oh yeah.
specifically want yours without any other?
I don't know, 'cause I don't know what you can do with people's IP. I've never looked into it 'cause I'm not that I don't wanna do that, so but it's always a big thing where people are like, "Oh, I don't want my IP to get out," so I'm like, I'm assuming it's a big deal. That's
Anybody who's got malicious intent would have a much easier time having getting a botnet through other means than getting your IP logged from
I
Steam
mean,
logins because you can do that with a simple website.
yeah.
yeah, also IP logs aren't as useful anymore. I mean, back in the day, if they had your IP, they could do a lot. But I remember the last couple of times I did any tracking on like my IP, it placed me 200 miles from where I actually was.
Don't they change your IP address, like, every, like, 2 months or something anyway as well?
Yeah, I had mine changed 3 times in a year.
So buying used or refurbished Steam accounts, plausible,
Ah,
but
It's a
dodgy.
thing,
It's
but I
definitely a
wouldn't do
against
it.
thing.
I
against the
would not
Um,
terms
do
of
it.
service, I'm pretty sure.
I would imagine so, yeah. I would
Probably. I'm
be
But
not gonna
like
do it.
like
like,
buying any other thing, it's worth inspecting before you seal the deal.
Yes, like going back to the whole
Very
GTA
much
thing.
so.
Back when I played that a lot, I saw a lot of people would like sell their GTA account as well. Like, yeah, I've bought all the cars. I have like 20 million. I have all the properties here. If you want to have an easier gaming experience, just buy my account.
For the low price of 300 AAA games.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just basically, hey, you want to spend a lot of money instead of a lot of hours? Here, an account that has all the stuff done for you that you could do for free. It just requires a bit of grinding.
I mean, but let's be honest, there are people who do that.
Oh yeah, of course there is.
There are people who are more than willing to go, "Oh, I can just spend money and get the thing and not have to do anything." Okay.
Yeah, then I can boost all my friends and all the online people that I'm gonna wreck with all this stuff that I spent all the hours doing this, when in fact I did not.
Of course, you're always going to have whales that can afford to pay to win.
Yeah,
Why not? Why wouldn't
yeah.
you?
As long as pay to win is a thing, there'll be people that will take advantage of it.
True.
Or be taken advantage of, technically,
Oh yeah,
I
that's
mean,
I'd say
yeah,
in
that's
on
my
a
fair.
opinion,
psychological
yeah.
level.
In my opinion, I'd say that's more being taken advantage of, yeah, but they would argue against it.
Of course they would, because they don't want to know that how wrong they are. How
Exactly.
easily they
What?
got
Admit
goaded
that
into
you're
paying.
wrong?
Yeah, instead of paying for a $60 game experience, you could have put, I don't know, 2 down payments on 2 new houses.
Literally. What are you gonna get more out of? Like, yeah, this game you're probably gonna play for like maybe at the max, like maybe a year or two, then probably never touch it again. A house you're gonna live in for the rest of your life as long as you don't blow it up or burn it down or you don't like it or die.
Just property, period. But yeah, we're once again we are off topic. Woo!
Kinda. We're still talking about
Kinda.
used
I
and
mean, yeah,
refurbished things.
used refurbed. Yeah. Um, how about just a computer in general, like parts all
As we said,
included?
as we said before, that would be the most thing I would like. I would be more inclined to do, but with all the other stuff, I'd want to see it working first.
Same for you,
Like,
Wolf.
You're probably safer buying the whole computer
yeah,
if it was, because computer actual computers are not really used for Bitcoin mining as much anymore as little specific things for them.
Yeah.
yeah, the specific parts like the GPU.
But if you find a computer that's got like a shitty CPU but a super powerful graphics card, I might steer away from that because that's probably an indicator that it was a miner and probably not going to live much longer beyond its get it out
Yeah,
of my hands date.
yeah, and as you said, like, it's a better way because then you can tell from that. If you just buy the GPU itself, there's nothing to indicate until you have it or test it first that it was used for mining. Whereas you said if you get a PC that has a shitty CPU but a great graphics card, that's an indicator.
If you got a computer that's just like from top to down, everything is decent specs. Or 2 years ago were decent specs, and it's at a price that you can afford it at a power level that's better than what you got. I'd say go for it.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. Let me look at the time. All right, we've gone almost an hour and a half. I think we've covered almost all of it. Oh,
yeah.
uh, headsets, mics, and webcams. Thoughts?
Again, they're the things I would be more, I'd be the most inclined to do because as I have done from a trusted person. I said Carson, and like you said, there's nothing that I don't think if you plug in a dodgy mouse, it's going to blow up your PC, and it's like it's not the most expensive thing in your build. Mouses nowadays, obviously, if you get like fancy gaming ones that are just color, they just light up, but that makes the price double. But it's not anything still too expensive compared to like a $2,000 graphics card.
Yeah, headphones, I think, debatable, only because you don't know how germy somebody's head might be.
I was gonna say, yeah, if
I
you're a
mean,
bit
you
of
can
like a
sterilize
germaphobe,
it,
then
but
yeah.
Microphones, I think, is okay. Webcams, just today's day and age in cybersecurity, I might not recommend buying a used webcam. I would probably sway towards buying that one new.
That's fair, yeah.
Sounds fair, yeah.
which is also buying a used laptop because most laptops have one embedded.
Yep.
So if I ever bought a used laptop, I would never, ever, ever use its webcam unless I did a complete, like, slap a new hard drive in it reboot.
Yeah.
Trust it, not at all.
Put some tape over the webcam.
I mean, you're probably likely to find it already taped,
Yeah. As that meme went about a bit ago, if Mark Zuckerberg himself tapes his webcam, everyone should.
right?
Well, he works in a position where it's probably wise to. He, of people who are more likely to be attempted to be tapped into, I think he's
Yeah.
higher on the
Yeah,
list
he's
of.
Yeah,
much higher up on
if
that
somebody
list.
was gonna think, okay, should I spy on Mark Zuckerberg or Susan down the road? Hmm, which is the obvious choice?
You're right.
Yeah, the higher your profile, the more tape you need. So
Yeah.
Noise,
True.
one of those little white noise generators in your office active at all times.
Yeah.
and every day you have to pop out your keyboard keys and shuffle them so that the clicks and clacks make different sounds, so they don't have any algorithms written to detect what you're typing by audio alone.
Well, that's what the sound jammer is for. They can't pick up the audio,
Well, a white noise generator can always be equalized out
right?
unless it's significantly louder to drown out all the other noise. But then you're talking
Well,
about a
that's why
really
you run a white
annoying
noise
thing.
generator and then run like some death metal in the background.
There you go. If you spend so much time doing this that you know what click is what key, then one, props to you for putting in so much effort, but two, get a life.
No, it's an
Well, it's a
algorithm. It's
software. It's an
yeah.
Oh, okay.
algorithm.
I thought you meant
You
the
don't sit there and
person.
listen to it. You get an algorithm. You plug it in to a dictionary, and you let it listen. It'll detect which one's the space bar, which is probably the loudest clack, right? And
Makes
then
sense, yeah.
you just use dictionary algorithms to kind of fill in the gaps of what could be here, and then it'll over time hone its accuracy until you've got a pretty good spy bot just or a pretty
And
good keylogger just with audio feedback.
those exist.
Well, that makes more sense then. I thought you meant just the person wouldn't just know what you're pressing.
No, that's
No.
that's
That's like
beyond Rain Man.
that's some extreme level hearing too to pick up all
That
that.
is. That is. But no, I fully believe, yeah, there is softwares
I
for that.
know I know weaponized autism is a thing, but we're not at that level yet.
No. All right. Well, this has
Did we talk about
been.
motherboards? No, I
Yeah.
don't remember us talking about motherboards.
I think we
Buying those
briefly
second.
touched on that at the start.
Oh. I was probably not
Because
remembering.
I'm pretty sure Phil got one, but I think it was also the first thing that went bad.
Yeah, because I've had one. I've had a refurbed
Oh,
one and it worked.
okay.
Lasted a few
I mean,
years, but
people really underestimate the board because everybody talks about, oh my god, the CPU, and oh my god, the GPU.
it's like,
I
but those
mean,
aren't the board.
that's your brain and your heart, right? But the
Uh,
motherboard is your nervous system. Very important to make everything else work, you know what I mean?
I
So
mean, that's
a lot of
actually the
people,
best analysis description of it I've
It,
really heard.
it is. It's like you can have a great heart, a great brain, but you need the system to, tell the brain and the heart what to do and send those signals, to the PC
yeah,
to
if
work.
I would say
look at
it's more your circulatory system because your
well,
nervous system, like your neurons and all that, I would say was the power supply because you cut the power and your lights are out.
no, that's the mitochondria of the computer.
Oh, is that what it is?
Is yeah, it's the mitochondria. It's the digestive system is the power block. I think because Stephen Hawking, look at Stephen Hawking. He is the 2035 AMD Ryzen thread shredder with a 1985 IBM motherboard.
Okay.
For most applications, you don't want your computer to perform like that.
No.
So don't overlook your motherboard.
No.
Yeah. But I think I can say as an overall statement that new is best.
Yes.
Refurb depends on what it is as well as used.
Depends on who's providing it.
Yep,
Yeah.
what it
What
is,
what
who's
it is and
providing
who
it.
does it.
Yep, there's a lot of it depends, but new is best.
In most cases, you gotta weigh what you're saving versus what you're risking.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's all the whole like if you want to save some money, then sure, go with refurbished or
Also,
secondhand,
is
but
your
you have to
expectation it
accept
only
the
needs to
risk.
last a year or three, or do you want it to last a long time?
Yeah. If you want more security that is going to work, if you've got the money and you want it to last, new is the better one.
New is always best.
Plus, the new has manufacturer's warranties. Sometimes refurbs do, but sometimes they do not.
Refurbs usually have a warranty on whoever refurbished them. It's usually something like 30 to 90 day, but that's it.
And I think I don't know, but I would think in most cases, if you claim a warranty on a refurb, they won't send you the same unit, but a new one.
Correct.
A new one.
They will replace it with another refurb.
Yeah, so you could just roll the dice with those until you get a new one or a good one.
Yep. I've actually done that. It was a refurbed, I want to say it was graphics card. This was years ago. And it went bad. Contacted the place I got it from. They said, send it in. I did. And they're like, okay, we have confirmed this is something that went bad from, it wasn't a good refurb. So we're sending you a replacement. And I got a replacement and it worked great.
Nice.
Till it got to the point it was just so out of date I had to get a new one to get up to date.
Maybe that'll be my final answer. Refurb is, if it is a significant savings from new, it is a good way to go given that they have a decent warranty.
Correct. Which you got
And
to be picky on who did the refurb and the specs.
if a new part costs you 1,500 and the refurb costs you 1,300, I just bite that bullet and buy the new.
Yeah. But if the new one's 15 and a refurb is 5,
Double check the source it came from and then slam that buy button.
right?
Yeah, do as much research as you can beforehand, and then yeah, if it all checks out good, do
And
it.
if it says only one in stock, don't fall for that bait, you sucker.
Oh my god, there's only one left. I have to get it.
No.
The chance of that being true
Next to
is
none.
low. If it only had one left, it probably already would have had zero left.
Yeah. But exercise a proper level of caution when getting anything used or refurbed.
Yes.
And even new, depending on where you're buying it new, because it might not be new.
Parts are generally going to be safer to buy, but from a security standpoint, if you're going to buy a whole unit, I would strongly suggest you either never turn it on with its hard drive, turn it on when it's not attached to your network first, and then
Yes.
clean the whole thing with a fresh
Have it stand alone,
reinstall.
connect to no network, and wipe the hard drive completely and thoroughly.
Because even if you get a computer from somebody who is trustworthy, like your grandma, you don't know what kind of stupid decision she or he or they may or may not have made in clicking something wrong and putting their computer on a botnet.
Or picking up a virus they didn't know they had.
Exactly. So it's just preventative measure. If you get a used computer from anybody, clean it, scrub it.
With
Don't
lots of
fi-
soap and water.
don't actually scrub it. Not literally.
Don't do like that meme where it's like, oh, I needed to clean my computer, so I stuck it in the sink and washed it. It's like, no!
No, my PC needed a cleaning, and it just cuts to like the guy just washing it in the sink.
Right?
I mean, you technically can, given that you take the battery out and it is very dry and it's also probably been once overed with very, very high percent alcohol, so there's no water
Don't.
mineralizations.
But let's be honest. Don't even wash it in the first place.
No,
So it is possible to
it's
do that.
possible, but don't.
It's possible, yeah, but don't. Just no. Just no. Don't do it.
That's a no-no.
It's a
I
big
know
no
what I'm
no.
doing.
It is bad. Don't do that. No no.
I know what I'm doing, and I broke a keyboard
You
trying
did.
to clean it. So
It's
I'm gonna
safer to just not do it.
I'm gonna fiddle with it and make it work again. But I didn't. I took it apart 3 times that night, and I just didn't feel like screwing with it more.
Well, see,
It's a
if
lot
you
of
wouldn't
work
have to
to take
fiddle
it
with it,
apart.
somebody wouldn't have to fix it.
Well, it needed to be taken apart, so I did. Sadly, it did not go together in its same condition, but I'll remedy that soon enough.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good endpoint for us. So, to
Yes,
anyone who's bothered to watch this whole thing, thank you for watching and putting up with our shenanigans.
that was a lot of them.
Yeah, yeah. This is us. Expect a derail. This is normal. If
Yeah,
you haven't figured
if
it
you're
out
not
by
new
now,
here, you'll know.
now you have.
We're a special kind of train. We're an off-road train.
Yes, we are definitely an off-road train.
Yep, we don't even know where the rails are anymore.
Wait,
There
there
are
are
no
rails?
rails. Precisely.
It's like, what's this thing you call rails? All right, everyone. Thank you for watching. Please tune in next time for more tech talks and our off-road trainness.